Not a problem, Judge. Good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
Good.
Help me with the pronunciation of your last name.
Elosegi.
Elosegu.
Elosegi.
Elosegu. Okay. Detective, how many years have you been a homicide detective?
21 years.
Okay. And how many interviews of this nature have you conducted?
Of this nature?
Yes.
Homicide interviews?
Yes.
God, hundreds and hundreds.
At least 500?
I would say, at least a couple of hundred.
Okay. How many of 13-year-olds being investigated for first-degree murder?
This right here is my first 13-year-old.
Okay. And what was your understanding as to the purpose of your testimony this afternoon, or today, on today's day?
Objection to relevance.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
What was his understanding as to why he was called to testify today? Why did he understand that he had to testify? I don't understand how that's relevant.
Sustained.
What did you do to prepare to be here this afternoon?
What I reviewed notes that I had. I reviewed body cam, and I have a lot of remembers of what happened.
Is this your only case that you're working?
Objection to relevance.
Where are we going, Mr. Rillo?
Judge, I'd like to know specifically if he's just relying on his memory, if he's talking about he looked at notes, what notes he's looked at, what did he do to prepare for his testimony?
I think he just told you. He reviewed some body-worn camera. What else did you review, officer?
I reviewed the body cam, the notes of my. You see, the reports are being memorialized, and we're still adding on to the reports, so they're not complete. Where I can bring a report to court here.
Do you have access to them by way of computer, then, as your people are compiling them?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Did you review the reports from your other officers?
Yes, everything, yes.
All right. So you're the lead detective.
Yes,
You're the repository of all of the reports and information of all of your officers.
yes.
Okay. This attorney wants to know what you reviewed before you came in today.
I reviewed, I read the supplements of other officers. I reviewed my supplement up to date, and body cam, and everything.
Do you know if what you reviewed the defense has?
Objection, Judge.
Let me ask this. I'll withdraw that question, Your Honor.
Okay.
What you reviewed, have you turned that over to the state attorney's office?
No, I have not.
Okay. How many times did you meet with the state attorney's office?
Well,
Judge, I'm going to continue to object to relevance.
One moment.
Yes, sir.
What's your next question?
What question did I just ask, or what would
Now, I tell you what, if you would like, I'll set this hearing for 6 months. You can take depositions, get all the reports, and be in a complete position. I'm expediting this process for the benefit of your client. Discovery in a case like this can take a year or two. In this courthouse, I've seen homicide squads take a year to prepare their reports. So, I guess what you're asking him about whether he's turned this over to you or not, is a very little moment for me. As I said again, I'm expediting these proceedings for the benefit of your client. So the fact that you don't have these reports, I got it. I understand. What's your point?
Thank you, Judge. Other than reports, what else, if anything, detective, did you review?
Reports, body cam.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you interview any witnesses?
I interviewed witnesses. I interviewed the defendant's father and numerous witnesses. His school kids that go to school with him.
Okay. Part of the reason you're here today is to establish Derek's maturity level to some degree.
Objection.
Grant.
Judge, why the state has, asking him why he's here to establish certain things is about what the state's doing. We just called him, we just subpoenaed him. You know, he's just here in response to a subpoena. I don't see the relevance of of what his understanding of the legal issues in this hearing are.
Okay, let me do it this way. Mr. Rielli, you started your question with, you're assuming you're here because of. I don't know if that's why he's here, but if you want to ask him what he knows about the mental state of your client, or physical abilities, or the things that you believe are relevant, ask him what do you know about A, B, or C. Can we do it that way?
Yes,
Thank you.
Judge. Detective, based on hundreds of interviews that you've conducted, the amount of years that you have in the force, do you believe that you can provide an opinion as to Derek's maturity?
Objection, compound evidence, and calls for expert testimony.
Judge, we're asking him to testify as to depth of wounds, like trajectory of wounds. We're asking
No
him.
one
I
else
was hoping to get that from what the end said, but I've got it. And I'll tell you what, this issue could.
In this hearing are.
Okay, let me do it this way. Mr. Rielli, you started your question with, you're assuming you're here because of. I don't know if that's why he's here, but if you want to ask him what he knows about the mental state of your client, or physical abilities, or the things that you believe are relevant, ask him what do you know about A, B, or C. Can we do it that way?
Yes,
Thank you.
Judge. Detective, based on hundreds of interviews that you've conducted, the amount of years that you have in the force, do you believe that you can provide an opinion as to Derek's maturity?
Objection, compound evidence, and calls for expert testimony.
Judge, we're asking him to testify as to depth of wounds, like trajectory of wounds. We're asking.
No one
I
else
was hoping to get that from what the end said, but I've got it. And I'll tell you what, this issue could come up later when we talk about the voluntariness of the confession. I'll let that question go ahead.
You may answer, sir.
As far as my evaluation, I not only have worked homicide, I've also worked with juveniles in the juvenile unit. Derek, in my opinion, is very smart. He answered the questions directly, and I think that he is a very smart person that understood everything.
Okay. Let's go to a couple pieces of what you assumed he understood. Can you
video.
Judge, I'm going to fast forward. It's 30 seconds to 2:42 in the morning.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Can we use?
You want me to play my?
You don't need to play
it. It's not in there. It's in the court file now.
Judge, Mr. Lewis specifically asked Ms. Morales if.
No,
Not Ms. Morales. I apologize. Ms. Hogue, if we could.
So I asked ahead of time to avoid this situation because I
I will
figured it
help
would
you,
come up.
but like you need to. I didn't know that. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
Well,
Just
I'm
say
talking to you.
May I have the
Let me see if I
exhibit?
got it straight.
Yes,
They'd
sir.
like to play a portion of the video that you played.
Right. Yes,
So
sir.
they can ask the.
I can do that. I
detective
just
about
wasn't.
that.
If I'd known it
Let's see if we can
would.
facilitate that.
I
Yeah,
told
but
him we would do
Yeah.
that.
Let's all work together, everybody.
It's not like that's okay. I gave it back. There's only just get it set up now. It'll take a second.
Yes, you can start right there.
Used against me, okay? If there's, okay, this is the form right here, okay? Now, I want you to follow, actually to read here, okay? Read this little dot right here. Yes.
Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights.
Okay, you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and initial this little dot for me. It means that you understand that. Yeah, that's your initials.
I have initials as your name.
Okay. What are your name? Right.
So you heard when Derek, in response to your question, just initial right here, if you understand, his response was, I don't have initials, I just have a name. Did you hear him answering that?
Yeah, I heard him answer that.
Okay, and that to you is intelligent, answering correctly, and understanding what he's doing?
He's understanding what he's doing because he is.
I'm not asking you
Explain.
why, sir.
Ma'am, well,
I'm answering the question.
You ask him a question, he'll be allowed to respond completely.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
He understood what I was telling him because he was complying with the thing. As a matter of you saying that, he doesn't know his initials or anything, I don't see anything. We're talking about him understanding and he understood. So I think he's intelligent, yes.
I didn't say that, sir. He said that. He said, I don't have initials. I just write my name. Moving on to the next one. Ms. Morales, if you can fast forward, please, to 244.
Okay, you understand that? Go ahead.
Questioning if you still have
There?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
the right to stop answering at any time or until you talk to a lawyer.
Okay, go ahead and initial right there. Okay, now read this whole paragraph.
I have read this statement of my rights and I understand what my rights are. I am willing to make this statement and answer questions. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I understand and know what I'm doing. No promises or threats have been made to me. No pressure or persistent.
Coercion, that's that we're forcing you to do something. You understand? Whatever you're doing on your own voluntarily basis, making an educated decision
Can we
for
stop
yourself.
right there, Ms.
Okay?
Morales? So at 244:40, you have to explain to Derek what coercion is, right?
I've had adults, yes, and I've had adults that I've had to explain that word. That's not a common word per se. So yes, I did explain it to him.
Okay. Now, not only did you explain it to him, but you had to help him pronounce it. You couldn't pronounce the word, right?
Coercion is a word, like I say, that I've helped other people with. It's not,
That's not my question.
I-
You couldn't pronounce the word, correct?
of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Moving on. Ms. Morales, if we can go to 245 at 38, please.
Is someone that can represent you in legal.
Ms. Morales, can we go to 245 at 36, please? Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm just gonna do it 38 because
No problem. Thank you.
As an attorney, if you do, go ahead and sign right here.
No censor.
An attorney is someone.
So you also had to explain to him what an attorney was.
Yes, we cleared it with lawyer, which he does know.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that we then told him an attorney was a lawyer and he understood.
And we is yourself
Myself,
and Detective Gonzalez.
yes.
And there was actually a third police presence in the room, right?
Is someone.
So you also had to explain to him what an attorney was.
Yes, we cleared it with lawyer, which he does know.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that we then told him an attorney was a lawyer and he understood.
And we is yourself
Myself,
and Detective Gonzalez.
yes.
And there was actually a third police presence in the room, right? The young lady to the far corner, shaking notes.
No, there wasn't another police presence.
Who was standing right here? I fast. Do you remember who was standing? Not here. Not Miss.
it's me.
It was a state.
That was me.
Okay. Okay. So there was a third person in the room.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can we fast forward, Ms. Morales, to 247, please?
Derek, can you state your full name for the record? 592 26, 2010. What's your address? I have no address. Okay. What's your telephone number? You don't know either? No. Okay. What type of phone do you?
Now, at this point, he's telling you he doesn't know his address, right? And he doesn't know his phone number.
Yes.
And it is still your testimony, and I imagine your opinion, that he was and is an intelligent, was answering correctly, and understood what you were doing, what you were asking of him.
When taking the whole interview into context, yes, he was. He understood, he answered questions, and everything.
My question, sir, when he tells you that he doesn't know his address and he doesn't know his phone number, that didn't raise a flag in you, maybe this person, maybe this kid doesn't know what he's doing. You never thought that.
No.
You always maintained that he was intelligent, knew what he was doing, and he was doing so informed, right?
During the whole context of the interview, again, I interpret it as knowing what he was doing and intelligent.
Including this.
No,
Ma'am,
you're
you
taking
already asked
piece by
that.
piece.
Excuse me. You've asked about that. Move on to your next area, please.
Yes, my last, actually, let me go back a little bit, Mr. Morales, if you don't mind, to 245, please. And don't play it, just pause it if you don't mind, at 245.
I'm trying.
And thank you for helping me.
Can we get 3 seconds earlier?
Okay. Now, you've conducted hundreds of interviews.
Yes.
How many would you say involved, you already told me not a 13-year-old, but juvenile?
Quite a bit.
Would you say that you are versed on the law as far as when someone is confessing an incident to you and what you can and cannot say to them? What would be an accurate statement of the law? What would be an inaccurate statement of the law?
Objection,
follow you.
compound question.
My
Well,
apologies.
kind of a compound question. One, sustained.
Would you say that you're versed on the law? Period.
All right, where are we going now? Is there a specific thing that you would like to point out that he said or did that's relevant to the determination that I'm supposed to make in this case? If you would, go ahead and proffer it to me, ma'am, because it's 5:40 in the afternoon, and I don't want to take more time
We could just
dancing around a cross-examination.
Okay.
Tell me what it is you expect him to say to you now. What area are you going into?
The detective says to Derek, if you want a chance to explain yourself, the only way we would be able to take your statement is if you agree to talk to us without the presence
All right, will you
of
raise
the
that when you move to suppress the statement, ma'am, okay? It's a marginal and absolutely no relevance at all to the determination I'm about to make once I get all the evidence in.
Can I ask him if he knows if that's an accurate fact of law?
Not right now, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I'll move on. Give me a second to gather my thoughts here. Detective says to Derek, if you want a chance to explain yourself, the only way we would be able to take your statement is if you agree to talk to us without the presence
All right, will you
of the
raise
attorney.
that when you move to suppress the statement, ma'am, okay? It's a marginal and absolutely no relevance at all to the determination I'm about to make once I get all the evidence in.
Can I ask him if he knows if that's an accurate fact of law?
Not right now, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I'll move on. Give me a second to gather my thoughts here. Okay, so I want to talk about a little bit of your testimony relating to the still shot from the baby cam. First of all, have you seen is your footage? Is there baby cam footage? Baby cam footage.
Not to my knowledge, only stills.
Okay. Now, have you heard the unredacted 911 call?
I've heard the 911 call.
The unredacted 911 call.
I believe so.
Okay. Does the FBI have the unredacted 911 call?
Objection, relevance.
Judge, apparently the FBI has the either forensic dumping or the phone itself. That was his testimony. I'd like to know what other evidence is not in Hialeah Police Department's custody and control.
What does that have to do with the issues in this hearing?
What, Judge? He was testifying as to premeditation or evidence that, this is something really planned out. And part of his testimony was that he, Derek, typed or searched X amount of words and searches on his phone. I want to know how he knows that those searches were conducted by Derek.
I guess we'll find that out in discovery now, but it's a little moment to me right now.
Okay.
As I've said to you guys about 20 times now, I want to focus on the conditions of his detention to determine if they violate his constitutional rights. Where the evidence is being forensically examined right now doesn't take me anywhere on that question.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome now.
In terms of the medical examination, do you know anything about depth of wounds?
The depth of the wounds?
Yes, sir.
I was there when they were doing the autopsy, and I got to see when they actually pulled the skin back, and the doctor explained to me that it hit organs and organs and organs.
Do you have any specialized training to know depth of wounds? You yourself, without somebody else telling you?
I'm not a doctor, if that's what you're asking.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Well,
I'm asking if you have any specialized training to know on your own, without another person telling you, the depth of a wound.
Well, visually, you could see if a wound or an injury goes through skin, and if it hits the organ, you can make an estimation. But other than visual.
Okay. Can you also visually identify the force needed to create certain wounds?
It depends if it strikes a bone or not.
And you could tell that visually, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, do you have any expertise to determine what's a defensive wound or offensive wound?
May I just inquire if I can go back? Do you still need this, Ms. Riella, or can I go back?
Yep.
Okay. Now, do you have any expertise to determine what's a defensive wound or offensive wound?
May I just inquire if I can go back? Do you still need this, Ms. Riella, or can I go back to my table?
No, I do not. Thank you, Ms. Morales. Do you have the expertise to determine what is a defensive or offensive wound?
I have handled many homicides and or stabbings, and I am talking to you from experience that I know what a defensive wound is in a knife attack.
So that's yes? You do have that?
Well, it's experience on the job, dealing with it many times. I don't have the medical explanations, but I can tell you what's consistent with a defense wound.
Okay. Is one of the witnesses that you interviewed Mr. Frank Ramos?
Frank Ramos, I interviewed him or dealt with him before. Initially, I don't think I interviewed him initially. I interviewed the defendant's father.
Now, have you met Mr. Ramos prior to this incident?
No.
Okay. And since the incident, how often do you speak?
Objection to relevance.
Judge, the detective testified that he received the still shot from Ramos. The detective also, if we recall, on the 22nd of November, took his personal cell phone to Mr. Ramos's home for a Zoom meeting. I think everybody remembers that, right?
Yeah.
Do you
I
remember
think
that?
he appeared on a cell phone.
His cell phone, correct.
For us,
Okay.
at your Honor's request,
Right.
he drove over there to do it.
When I asked the detective to drive over and find him so we could take testimony from him as to whether he agreed to you entering his apartment for inspection.
Okay.
Okay. And where are we going with this?
Have you relayed any of the findings to Mr. Ramos?
I have an
Wait a
objection
minute.
pending.
Now we're on a new question.
Right.
Yes.
All right, let me hear your question then.
Yes, Judge. I don't want to talk about the cell phone anymore. He took his cell phone, Your Honor asked, he said yes. The evidence, the investigation, the course of the investigation. Have you revealed details to Mr. Ramos about it?
Absolutely not.
So you never told Mr. Ramos that there were
Objection to
46
relevance.
absences?
I'm sorry. What would be the relevance of that? I'll allow you to respond to her objection.
I'd like to know, Your Honor, any type of bias or any type of, why would Mr. Ramos know that there were X amount of
I know we
stabbings?
don't have anything in this record which would indicate that Mr. Ramos knows there were X amount of stabbings. Move on to your next question now.
Do you know if Mr. Ramos would know what the searches on the phone
Objection to relevance. I mean, for this hearing, all of this is irrelevant.
I don't be sustained. Next question, please.
I think I'm done. Give me one moment, Your Honor. Oh, okay. I think I'm done. Thank you, Detective.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
Yes, sir,
Is
thank
there
you.
One lawyer.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Mr. Lewis.
But in the future, don't hesitate to bring her notes about questions that you think she might want to ask during the examination. Is there anything else you have of this witness that you want to ask of this witness, Mr. Rayl?
Yes.
Okay, let's get it done.
Judge, I can streamline it a lot faster if I just ask the questions because those are my notes. That's why I understand your policy, Judge. Shouldn't take long. I'd have to tell her what my notes mean.
It's really deciphering his handwriting. When you were interviewing Derek, did you have your gun?
Objection to relevance.
Okay, ma'am, a lot of these things that you're raising here, Mr. Lewis, are things that I would hear ordinarily if you were arguing that his confession or his statements were not voluntary or constitutionally taken, but I'm really much more interested in focusing on the circumstances of his detention. So I'm thinking this goes a bit far afield. I want to give you guys a full opportunity to put as much evidence as you thought was relevant into the record. This is not. It's a standard.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you very much. Any redirect?
Yes, thank you,
That's
sir.
not a
I'll be
request
brief.
that you redirect. It's just an...
I'll be very brief, Judge. I know it's late. Trying to be as succinct as possible. Do 13-year-olds have driver's licenses with their addresses on them?
No.
Was the phone that you impounded belonging to Mr. Rosa a smartphone?
I believe it was, yes.
Are numbers saved in that?
Yes.
In your experience with adults, are there often times when somebody doesn't know a phone number because they saved them? They don't know it by heart?
Yes.
At any point when you were speaking with Mr. Rosa and he didn't understand something, did you explain it?
Yes.
And did he seem to you to understand what you explained?
Yes.
Just 1 second, Judge. No further questions.
Thank you very much, Detective.
Thank
Judge,
you.
can I ask one question? Regarding that explanation, I have one question.
I'm sorry, ma'am. What's your question?
My question is, did you explain anything to Derek outside of what we viewed here, outside of this interview?
No.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Detective.